Welcome to Wetpixel Live. My name is Adam Hanlon, and I'm the editor of Wetpixel, and I'm joined by regular contributor Alex Mustard. Hi, Alex.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas, Adam.
Merry Christmas, Alex. You look like you're very festive today.
Yeah. Well, four-year-old in the house, so yeah, pretty hard to avoid Christmas around here.
And I gather that you might have nicked her hat as well.
Yeah. It's a bit like me at this one, but yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So first of all, really, I guess we should wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, and to thank them all for watching us over the past. How long have we been doing this for now? 6 months or so, I suppose. So
feels longer. I think it's less though.
Yeah. So thank you all for watching. And Alex and I thought we'd discuss what the plans are for 2021 and what we might be doing and what so on and so forth. So I guess I'm going to do my usual thing of throwing it straight to Alex and saying, what have you got planned for next year then?
Well, what I've got planned and what might happen, I think it's a bit different. I think the thing I'd most like is one of those injections. That'd be quite nice way to start the year.
Yeah.
But and I guess that will almost be the beginning of the ticket to the way out of all of this. And I think travel will become a lot easier with proof of vaccination. I think that will be perhaps one of the things that most places are just going to hang on for now, certainly before tourist travel really gets going again, and hopefully that will be the first, that will start to roll out through the first quarter of the anyway. But I don't want to talk too much about that side of it. I have quite a busy schedule planned for next year, particularly the second half of the year, partly because I already had some workshops planned for that year, and partly because a lot of what I was doing in 2020 that ended up having to be postponed got pushed into either 2021 or 2022. So I have all those trips as well. So I'm most looking forward to getting back in the water and getting shooting regularly again. I've enjoyed the dives I've done this year, but particularly with rules and limitations in the UK, I've not been able to dive all the time. So really looking forward to being regularly getting back in the water.
Yeah, I think even our sort of home-based diving has been very limited due to the restrictions, the travel restrictions, particularly that have been imposed. So even though it's not even been the case that we've been able to, we can't travel, so we'll dive at home. The number of dives I've done in 2020 has been significantly reduced from my normal numbers. So, and I've probably done more than most. So really looking forward to just being in the water as well. Yeah, I quite agree.
Well, for me, actually, 2021 kicks off with UPY, but that's sort of also a slightly different experience for us this year because we're, as judges, not allowed to physically meet. And one of the things that's always been sort of key for me in UPY is to not have online judging, because although online judging can be done well, it's often just seen as a chore by the judges to get done as quickly as possible. And one of the things that was really important to me with UPY was to have a judging process where the judges really gave time to all the images. And sadly, this year we won't be allowed to. I mean, it's pretty obvious in the UK at the moment. We won't be allowed to meet to do the judging, so we're going to have to do it online. But I don't want that to compromise the amount of effort we put into it, which means it's probably going to end up taking 3 or 4 times longer than normal. Because just to do everything online like that just takes forever. So so it will just be a very slow process, and it'll be lots of. You've got the what we don't want to do is have the pictures on Zoom and try and judge them. We want to make sure we've got 2 computers each. We're all looking at the picture properly on our own computer, not with it coming through the internet being all blocky, and then use Zoom or Skype or whatever to have the conversation. So there's going to be quite a lot of organizational side to make sure we're all looking at the right picture, the right
tech involved. The other thing, and for those of you that don't know the personalities involved, but a combination of Alex, Martin, and Peter Rowlands, I mean, it must take hours, because between the 3 of you, you can certainly talk.
It's one of the great pleasures of doing UPY is spending the time with those 2 and hearing their thoughts on images. And I think that's also one of the reasons why we've always had this very sort of, I guess, long-winded, but very robust, very detailed judging process, because I've always been fascinated listening to the 2 of them, and I've always felt a great responsibility to the entrants that we give every single image this really detailed consideration, and we judge judge it through lots of rounds. We see the images lots of times, and slowly cull them down. And we'll be doing all that online this year. So that's the start of my year.
Yeah.
And then in terms of travel, which is kind of the other underwater photography I've got, the first trip I have scheduled is a March trip to Socorro.
Very nice.
Which, as things stand at the moment, that is a destination where trips are running.
Yep.
So that trip is potentially likely to happen.
Yep.
Whether I'll be allowed to join it might with the situation in the UK at the moment, that might be part of it. Yep. But that's the first trip I have. I was hoping to do an Iceland trip in April, but I just don't feel confident launching that at the moment. I just think there'll still be too many restrictions within Europe. But if things do, get better very quickly, I'll definitely want to go and do that trip.
Sounds good.
And then May is my other sort of first half of the year trip that's scheduled, and that's a trip to Tubataha in the Philippines. And whether the Philippines will be open for international travel by then, I don't know. But they've been pretty much shut for a long time, and I think it's going to take something pretty big to get them open again. So I think that trip I'm not too sure about, and that sort of takes me up to kind of the middle of the year.
Yep.
And I think things will change a lot in the second half of the year because more and more of the population around the world will have had vaccines by then.
Yep. And I think that vaccine availability is going to be the crucial thing. So I'm the Bahamas ambassador program.
Oh yes, congratulations, ambassador.
Thank you very much.
Where are my Ferrero Rochers for Christmas?
But there's a trip planned for that, and I think that they want to try and do that first quarter. And similar to Mexico, the Bahamas is open still, but the issue for us from Europe specifically is getting there. So obviously we can't fly via the States, so they're talking about routing via Canada. But so we'll see. I mean, again, like one thing 2020 has taught us is you can't plan too much. But I'm hoping certainly that I'll be in the Bahamas sort of in the first quarter. And then we have a trip on the very wonderful Damai to Raja Ampat scheduled for April. And similar to your situation with the Philippines, Indonesia currently is closed down. I'm not accepting any foreign travel. It has been for quite a long time, really. There's been a little bit of movement where they're allowing internal travel to some extent, but there's certainly no. And so we're basically at the moment still in a situation where we don't know until the Indonesian situation resolves itself, and I think it's going to be based on vaccination, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, I think. I mean, with no evidence or knowledge, yeah. I sort of get the feeling that Indonesia might open before the Philippines.
Right.
But I have absolutely nothing to back that up with, just from kind of what I hear spoken. But the main thing is that when these places do open, that it's safe and it's travel without so many strings it becomes impossible.
Yep.
Ultimately, these trips are supposed to be enjoyable, not.
Yeah.
So
the flip side of the coin, of course, is that both countries are very dependent on tourism, and one of the best things we can really do right now to support the dive operations and the staff and everyone else that lives there is go on trips. It's really. I know it sounds strange because travel is still very limited, but booking on trips and getting on trips is actually a really important way of supporting those businesses and the individuals involved in them. So. How about year then, Alex? What are you going to buy next year then? What's on Alex's? Maybe I should say what's what's going to be under the tree for Alex this year?
Yeah, I think that's a much happier thing to talk about at the moment. A little bit. I have to say though, generally, I'm not that sort of. There's not that much way up there that I'm ready to buy, because I think first of all, one of the things I was most excited about that we both got now is the EMWL.
Yep. And
I really would like the chance to take that to a proper muck diving macro destination.
Yep.
I just think it will be so usable there. It's so much more user friendly than I was expecting. There's so much more flexibility with the system than I was expecting. I just can see myself just diving it dive after dive and really enjoying how a destination that I absolutely love, but perhaps I've shot a lot. I'll get so much out of. So that's more than new kit, actually having some of the kit I've managed to get my hands on this year and actually get some proper mileage with it would be really, really Really high priority for me. I don't think it's a year that I'm likely to get new cameras. I do think let's see what the D850 replacement looks like. But I think if it doesn't fit directly into the existing housings, I don't think it's a must-have for me.
Yep.
Unless it has some tech in it that really moves the game on in some area that's really critical.
Yep.
But I don't need more high ISO performance than the camera currently has, really. I don't need faster frame rate, better autofocus. There's not
pretty good, isn't it? So
it's pretty good, and you don't really need better autofocus for wide angle. You don't need it super macro because you're generally using fixed focus. So there's not a lot you really, it's just kind of fish photography that really benefits from that really, really, really good autofocus. So if it doesn't fit in the housing and therefore becomes a housing and camera purchase, it then becomes hard to justify.
And you've got 2 D850 bodies, haven't you? So you've kind of got a nice setup there, which, to replace that, you're looking at sort of 2 new bodies and a housing. It's expensive.
Whereas if I was able to, add another body that would fit in the housing, then that would be more attractive. But again, the D850 is a lot of camera, and I'm not, I've never really, skipped any major introduction, through my career. But it does feel like now is a time that it's less critical. The D6 came out. I've not even tried one, not even really read about them. It's not really on my radar. And so I feel the camera technology has got very mature, and there's much less of a need for that. It's probably also that financially being an underwater photographer in 2020 hasn't been exactly a booming year. So that probably also tempered my desire to spend money.
Well, I think you're quite right, though. There was some really good new products that came out or started shipping in 2020, and sadly, we haven't really had a chance to use them. So like you, I'm really can't wait to get EMWL somewhere where we can really maximize its potential. I have the new CCAM. They're not really new anymore, but the CCAM 160 strobes, and they're big wide angle strobes, and they really need big wide angle scenes, and I just haven't had them since I've had the strobes. So I'm really excited to get those. Well, hopefully in Raja in April, and really work them and see what I can get with them.
Yeah, it's a good time of year for wide angling because April tends to have better viz in Raja, so it's a good time for shooting scenery out there. So yeah, hopefully you get to do that trip.
Really hope so. I think on the new camera front, I have to say I would like to have another look at the Z series, the Mark IIs, and see if the issues that I had with the autofocus with the first generation has been sorted out. I'm not convinced that it's something that's going to persuade me to move over to Z because of the lens availability issue at the moment. But I am, and I will seriously consider this, if the D500 replacement, which again it's all rumored, isn't it? But assuming there's a D500 replacement, that to me is I'm probably more interested in that than D850. And I think similar to what you said, I think D850 is an amazing camera, and I can't, unless there's some huge technological leap forward, I don't see a need to upgrade. D500 is an amazing camera, but I can see more potential for improvement with the D500 than even just a few more megapixels would make a big difference. And that to me is really exciting. So I love D500 front of water, and if the D, whatever it is, 580 or whatever it's going to be, arrives, I think that could be a really exciting development for me, because I have D850 and D500, and I would certainly would consider upgrading D500 possibly. But like you say, it's not a good year to be spending money, or it's not a good time to be spending money.
Well, I think the thing I've missed, just like you, the most this year is getting this stuff underwater, and that's more than gear. If I have any spare income, I want to use it to get myself underwater as much as possible again, and get back out there, seeing the wonders of the underwater world, seeing what lack of divers has done to some places. There'll be good news and bad news, but it'll be interesting to see. And just also getting out around the world to the resorts that we love, seeing friends in the diving industry around the world, friends, there's so many people that you see every year on year on the other side of the planet as you travel as a diver. And it's been strange not to see all those people. So, really looking forward to seeing all the friends you dive with and you visit when you travel.
and the lack of shows and stuff, things like DEMA, for example,
Mm.
not happening. That a lot of those sort of things. Hopefully there will be a DEMA in 2021. Although I think I'll probably be in Lembe for it, but you never know what'll happen. But I think these are the kind of things that hopefully will revert. And as you say,
Mm.
the whole kind of getting together with friends and acquaintances in the industry will be really good.
Mm.
Fantastic. Thank you, Alex. So basically, I suppose we should wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and certainly hope that 2021 is a wonderful year
Mhm.
for everyone, and that all those unrealised photographic goals become realised in next year. So thank you very much.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Adam.
Merry Christmas, Alex, and I'll look forward to catching up with you in the new year. And I'd like to thank you all for watching, and please feel free to add any comments about your plans for next year in the comment section, and drop us a like if you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you very much.